dear participants of the 6th International Baltic Symposium on Science and Technology Education. I am Gražina Šmitienė from Klaipėda University, and first of all I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizer of this symposium for the invitation to participate in the sessions Science and Technology Education, Expectation and Experience, and to share the experience and to share our team experience accumulated in Klaipėda Department of Pedagogy in field of yearly engineering education, a space where science coverage with technology. Yes, I can do myself. Yeah, okay. In my presentation, Engineering in Primary Education, Challenges and Opportunities, I will share with you the latest research findings conducted by our team of researchers along with examples of practical activities implemented in this context. My presentation consists of 3 parts in which I will review the challenges or limitations and opportunities for engineering education in primary classes as identified in both international and national studies. In third party, I will present the contribution of the EduTech's team laboratory at the Department of Pedagogy of Klaipėda University to development of yearly engineering education in the context of teacher education. First of all, I would like to emphasize that many of identified challenges already imply potential opportunities. More precisely, they outline directions for future scientific and practical actions. One of the key directions for strengthening engineering education in primary schools is the application for living lab principles, both in the preparation of future teachers and in the effective professional development of in-service teachers. How is engineering in primary education defined? What is conceptual statements and why is it important in today's educational context? At the international level, the growing recognition that engineering in primary education is one of the strategic directions in ensuring not only an innovative and competitive education system, but also the resilience of the country, society, and communities to various crises and threats. Scientific literature emphasizes that yearly engagement of children in engineering thinking activities strengthens their creativity, problem-solving skills, and critical thinking. The importance of this early involvement is also reflected in global and European strategic documents such as OECD Education 2030 or Europe Union STEAM coalitions or the European Skill Agenda. In the context of the global labor market, there is an increasing demand for professionals capable of working in engineering, technology, and digital innovation sectors. And European Union STEAM coalition highlights that yearly interest in STEM, it means science, technology, engineering, and math, is decisive factor in encouraging future engagement in these fields. European Union documents stress that development of engineering thinking should begin already in primary schools to ensure technological literacy and promote an innovative mindset in approaching problem solving. European development in engineering in primary education definitions in teacher training contexts, what I want to say that in the European Union, significant monument for the integration of engineering into primary education has been provided by Erasmus Plus and Horizon Europe programs, which fund numerous international projects in these fields. For example, RoboESIL projects demonstrate how educational robotics and problem-based learning can be used to reduce the risk of early school leaving. The project involves schools from Spain, Italy, Greece, and Romania. The results show that when students work on solving real-world problems through robotics, they become more engaged in the learning process and improve their motivation. Under Horizon Europe program, there is growing emphasis on this integration of STEAM plus robotic plus living lab approaches as a highly effective pathway to innovative learning in primary classroom. It worth noting that Baltic countries are actively participating in this area as well. Since 2021, Lithuania has established a national network of regional STEAM centers, which implemented innovative projects in which engineering in primary education is one of key priority areas. The centers apply educational robotics, 3D printing and decision thinking methodologies starting from the primary education level. A known engineering education researcher, Lucas, proposed a clear definitions of that it means to think like an engineer by responding to two fundamental questions as visualized in this slide. How to engineering think and act, how the best can the education system develop learners who think and act like engineers. This led to development of conceptual model titled Thinking Like as Engineering, using engineering habit of minds to redesign engineering education for global competitiveness. Engineering habit of minds represent a core elements in developing engineering thinking, especially it's very important for early education. Engineering habit of minds refer to specific cognitive and behavioral disposition characteristics of engineer is crucial. They can be cultivated starting in primary and even pre-primary education. Engineering habit of minds includes the following division, as you see: systems thinking, creativity, problem solving, resilience, collaboration, improvement through iteration. According to Lucas and his colleague, nurturing these habits early childhood lays the foundations for learners' future ability to create innovative solutions in diverse real-world contexts. The visual models, as you see, capture the core engineering mind, describes as making things that work and making things work better, surrounded by essential engineering habits of minds and future supported by both the learning habits of mind. Baggiati and her colleagues demonstrate in their research that even very young children, aged from 3 to 8, exhibit a natural inclinations toward experimentations, exploring cause and effect relationships, and constructing static and mechanical systems through play. The model highlights the following case. Play can serve as a powerful platform for development the foundations of engineering thinking. Children naturally engage in engineering process, even without formal instructions. And yearly involvement in the project-based activities promote the development of critical thinking and collaboration skills. Therefore, even the preschool level children are capable of development elements of the engineering habit of minds, provided that the appropriate learning environment is created. Yearly engineering education refers to development of children's engineering things from an early age through practical inquiry-based activities. This educational approach is grounded in creativity, problem solving, the decision process, experimentation without various materials and technologies. The overarching goals is to foster children's technological literacy, critical thinking, ability to solve real-world problems, all within the framework of STEAM education. What about challenges? The definitions of engineering education in early childhood is never fixed, non-universally agreed upon, which contributes to the considerable challenges in implementation engineering education at the primary schools level. As you see, we can calculate more than 9 big challenges. For example, lack of teacher competences, overloaded curricula, lack of materials and resources, absence of assessment methods, and so on. Specific challenges in the Lithuanian education context within the Lithuanian education systems. The following critical challenges can be identified, the big 5 challenges. Lack of teacher competences, the fragmentations of curricula, the absence of national guidelines, material constraints and cost barriers, social and didactic stereotypes. As previously mentioned, each challenge inherently contains the possibility of resolutions. Then the constructed challenges can reveal actionable directions for innovation and improvement. The next sections will explore each of the 5 case Lithuania challenges in more detail, analyzing their causes and suggesting potential strategies for overcoming them. One of the primary challenges observed in Lithuania is the lack of teacher competences in the implementing engineering education. Contemporary engineering education for primary learners is increasingly embedded within the STEAM approach. This type of integration enables children to engage in interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary learning process. The engineering is inseparably linked to creativity, expression, and practical application. A widely cited example of this context is educational robotics, which has become one of the key tools used in STEAM-related instructions. Research shows that educational robotics not only support the development of technical skills, but also foster collaboration, critical thinking, and student agency to solving problems relevant to their everyday life. Another emerging model is implementing of living lab methodologies, interactive learning environments where learners work with real-world problems, create prototypes, and test solutions. However, such approach poses significant challenges to teachers who often lack the necessary knowledge and methodological skills. Another barrier closely tied to teacher competences is transformation of the teacher role. It means in this context, the teacher is no longer a knowledge transmitter, but rather a facilitator of learning. These pedagogical shifts require teachers to design flexible and student-centered learning activities, foster inquiry, experimentation, and collaboration, support deeper engagement and understanding. Such facilitation-oriented teaching ensures greater student engagement and deeper conceptual understanding, especially when compared to traditional instructional models. On the other hand, engineering is not defined as a distinct subject in the updated our Lithuania National Primary Education Curriculum. However, Lithuania has adopted a national STEAM education strategy, and in this development of network of regional and methodological STEAM centers. These centers help address resources and infrastructure gaps, but they are not designed for primary level learners. Their activities target students from grade 7 and above. At the same time, primary school often struggle with a lack of material resources, educational robotic kits, 3D printers, and so on. Moreover, some schools lack even the basic technological infrastructure, such as reliable high-speed internet, sufficient computer in classes, flexible learning environment, and others. The second big challenge is didactic and gender stereotypes. remain of major barriers to inclusive engineering education. Some parents and even some teachers continue to perceive engineering as a boy domain, which contributes to self-doubt and reduced participations, particularly among female teachers and students. In Lithuania, the majority of primary teachers are women. This cultural belief impacts girls' self-confidence in STEM subjects, the willingness to participate in engineering-related projects, the risk aversions, and choosing bold or unconventional design ideas. As noted by Gervas Gomez and Martin Padilla, these stereotypes results in missed opportunities to explore engineering in meaningful and creativity ways. A common argument driven by stereotypes might be, for example, why learn how something works if you want to be the one to fix it? This mentally undermines efforts to normalize engineering as relevant, accessible, and necessary discipline in the children's everyday life. Despite the challenges identified, each one holds the potential for transformation. These emerging opportunities can be grouped into 5 key categories. For example, revised national curriculum. Although engineering is not yet a stand-alone subject, its content is increasingly embedded across multi-disciplines in the revised national curriculum. This allows for integration without requiring structural subject reform. The Living Lab approach is now being actively incorporated into teacher education and professional competence development, including new in-service training program focused on the hands-on, practice-oriented experience, and which is exactly what we do in Klaipėda University Pedagogical Department. STEAM integration is becoming natural, integrated into other subjects, especially through interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary way. Of course, community engagement, and so on. The revised national curriculum for primary and lower secondary education introduced a flexible and integrative structure emphasizing both mandatory content, at least more than 70%, and optional teacher-selected content, up to 30%, which allows educators to tailor instruction based on students' interests, needs, and learning achievements. In the updated national curricula for technology education, significant emphasis is placed on the both project learning and design-based thinking methodologies. The curriculum highlights the importance of implementing all 4 essential stages in the learning process, as you see in the slide. It means problem identification, idea generation and development, prototyping and implementation, presentation and self-evaluation of results. These components form the backbone of engineering-oriented activities and contribute directly to the development of engineering competence from the early stage of primary education. The curriculum strongly advocates for the competency-based approach, emphasizing the integration of the 7K competences, each color-coded, as you see in the slide, in associated visual material. Every color have to express some competences. For example, cognitive competences, social, emotional, and healthy life competences, creativity competences, civic competences, and so on. Through the basic project-based engineering education, learners not only engage in authentic hands-on problem solving, but also systematically develop all 7 transversal competences. When we talk about early engineering education in our schools, first of all, I want to emphasize the entrepreneurship Particularly important of promoting engineering learning from the first grades is the introduce of entrepreneurship education. According to curricula, entrepreneurship is defined as the ability to take initiative, commit to act, engage in risk-taking with business or social initiative, and demonstrate economic and social responsibility. Entrepreneurial education is embedded not only as a cross-curricular theme, but is also explicitly reflected in the learning outcomes and performance indicators. In summary, the National Education Policy Framework provides concrete avenues for integrating engineering education starting from grade 1 through both contents and pedagogical principles, thereby fostering innovation, creativity, responsibility, and problem-solving capacity from early age. General principles and methods of early engineering education. And as you see, returning to prepared recommendation for the implementation of primary education in the core principles of early engineering, numerous points of convergence can be identified. This slide presents 7 key overchanging principles. First of all is child-centered learning. Learning activities are tailored to the cognitive development or motor skills level of young learners. The second is practical and experimental learning, encourage active engagement through creating, experimenting, and design thinking. And I want to emphasize that the 5 of them, real-world context and problem, it means that early primary engineering education have to be connects learning with everybody experience, such as bridges, buildings, and simple machines, and so on. In brief, 4 case didactic strategies have been highlighted in connection with the revised national curricula and practical teaching recommendation. First of all, project-based learning, then the learners tackle real-world problem, engage in designed thinking approach, inquiry-based learning, play-based learning, and design think process as a structured pedagogical approach in which students define a problem, generate ideas, build prototypes, and so on. Frequently used and demonstratively effective instructional tools include a variety of construction kits and manipulatives. For example, Lego, building blocks, and simple engineering sets help students grasp fundamental engineering principles through playful learning. Another approach involves role-playing and simulation, in which students assume the role as engineering and address age-appropriate challenges, fostering empathy, design thinking, and practical problem solving. Game and digital learning tools are also gaining traction in early engineering education. Interactive programs, coding games, and virtual simulation are being used to foster problem solving and creativity. A prominent example is Minecraft. In this game-based environment, students can model real-world historical or futuristic structures such as Eiffel Tower and energy-efficient buildings and so on. And I think that Minecraft Education Edition future and change this experience by allowing students to stimulate green technologies, renewable energy systems, and sustainable urban development. This slide presents the core engineering related concepts and skills outlined in the national, Lithuanian science curriculum from grade 1 to 4. These elements form the foundation of early engineering education. For example, core engineering concepts, force and motions, understanding how objects move, push, pull, and interact with forces such as gravity and frictions, or maybe structure and stability, students can exploring how materials and design affect the strength and stability of buildings, bridges and towers. In the energy and power themes, our students can introducing energy source, for example, solar, wind, electricity, and how the power machines works. Environmental engineering, our students can addressing sustainability topics like recycling, renewable energy, and water conservation, and so on. As you see, so many engineering concepts are included in our program now, as are technology subjects or science subjects or math. Target learning outcomes and skills. And the next side of the slides show that creativity thinking is very important and include in our programs hands-on activity and prototyping, understanding causes and effects, critical thinking, and so on. As I mentioned, so we have so many opportunities to develop engineering education in our schools today. One of them is connected with Living Lab methodology. How can we answer the question, what is Living Lab in education? According to Schurman and her colleagues, Living Lab is open, collaboration-driven space. The innovation is created through community-based participations. In education context, the Living Lab approach involves authentic learning environments rooted in real-life problem-solving and experimental and inquiry-based pedagogical approach, institutional collaboration involving schools, universities, business, and communities. For example, the Living Lab for Schools 2023 project demonstrates how schools can transform into mini laboratories. The students co-create solutions to local community challenges through hands-on engagements. Living Lab frameworks are increasingly applied in interdisciplinary education, integrating STEM or STEAM with health, environment education, and artificial intelligence. International practice emphasizes community engagement, hands-on learning, problem-based solving as a central pedagogical strategy. What about us? The Education STEAM Laboratory of the Department of Pedagogy at the Faculty of Social Science and Humanities of Klaipėda University is full of the latest educational technologies and STEAM teaching tools for early childhood and primary education. The department researchers have carried out a wide range of research on educational technologies, and their results allow us to select the most effective and relevant educational technologies and tools for today's educational institutions. In the Klaipėda region, STEAM education can be much more easily applied not only in general education school but also in pre-primary educational institutions. The Education STEAM Lab follows the concept of Living Lab. It means a user-driven open innovation ecosystem approach. The research and innovation process are integrated into real-life settings. Education lab activities aim to help teachers, researchers, and companies to effectively use and develop cutting-edge educational tools to analyze the accumulated experience in the field of the educational technology and STEAM education, to promote the development of evidence-based innovation in education and training, and to develop the STEAM education ecosystem in Western Lithuania region. As you see, a Living Lab approach, what we used, it means that a Living Lab model has a widely adopted collaborative participation approach to addressing complex challenges in education. In our understanding, in teacher education, living labs offer educators the opportunity to directly address educational challenges by working collaboratively with experienced practitioners, researchers, and policymakers. In the diagram which is presented in this slide, you can see the sixth important point for us in the living lab cycles in education in our understanding. It means, first of all, we try to identify challenges, recognize educational problems that require effective solutions. After that, foster collaboration, engage various stakeholders and in collaborative teamwork. After that, we develop solutions, implement solutions, and of course, evaluate outcomes, iterate, and improve this in our teamwork. Key principles of the living lab approach in the education STEP lab, as I mentioned, is co-creation, user centricity, iterative development, and open innovations. It means we try to create some innovative solutions together with EdTech business and schools community. We try to find some solutions together. As you see in this slide, a vision on objective of the education in the education our lives show us how we can to implement it. First of all, I would like to note that when we talk about early prime engineering education, we mean that this is sometimes of STEAM something from STEAM education object. It means that if you want to promote good STEAM education environment, first of all, we have to focus on engineering habit of mind. Yes, it's very important for us. Okay. Briefly about our research. We applied a few methods: focus group interview with teachers and survey with students, and we try to understand how they feel and how they understand living lab principles what we include in our works with schools, and briefly results about it. As in two diagrams describes the structure of the EduTech STEAM lab, which includes three main phases: exploration, experimentation, and evaluation. Based on the response of these informants who participated in the study, we can capture a model current activities. This model emphasizes the identifications of educational challenges, the co-development of artificial intelligence-based tools with stakeholders, and the evaluation of innovation through iterative improvement and data analysis. It integrates theoretical research, practical teaching in science and policy perspective to promote effective and sustainable educational innovations. EduTech STEAM Lab teacher training context. This shows that teachers are not only interested in learning about technologies, but also in understanding how to apply them directly in their lessons. This insight strongly supports the value of EduTech STEAM Labs' hands-on and practical training approach. In our EduTech STEAM Labs express that living lab model by connecting research and classroom practice through iterative development, exploration, experimentation, and evaluation, ensuring educational innovation are tested, refined, and contextually relevant. By fostering interdisciplinary collaboration and engaging stakeholders, the lab supports sustainable transformation in artificial intelligence-driven assessment, engineering primary education, STEAM pedagogy, and teacher education. Yes. The main results, what I want to emphasize, that the lab promotes sustainable educational transformation, particularly in artificial intelligence driven assumes. We work with different edtech company, and we try to develop more for user-oriented artificial intelligence-driven solution for primary school for primary schools. Yes. And I want to present two our big researches. It means artificial intelligence and learning analytics. For personalized education, it means DIMA. This project is closed now, and this project, what we work just now, it's pedagogical model for project-based learning via learning platforms. It means Project Promo. And second, and this slide show how we work with our students, the future teachers. The second-year childhood pedagogy students presented in the International Twinning STEAM project, Time Travel, which we implemented during the spring semester. In this project, students, along with teachers and pupils from educational institutions in Klaipėda, explored the phenomenon of time, analyzed and assessed key problem-based questions, sought creative solutions, and shared their experience with the wider Twinning community. The project involves over 90 participants from various higher education institutions, including Vilnius University, Šiauliai Academia, Šiaulių Academia, Vilnius Colleague, Riga Technical University, Liepāja Academia, and so on. The active participation of teachers and pupils from Klaipėda educational institutions, more than 5 schools from Klaipėda, with more than 20 pupils involved in these projects. Our students, in collaboration with school teachers, conducted a variety of educational activities for pupils. They explore and analyze specific educational technologies, examined their application in STEAM and engineering education, and evaluated the outcomes of their didactic decision, including the potential and effectiveness of the technology used. For example, in this slide, you see children are engaged not only in working with technology and photon robots, but also in constructed and create some stories, castles, buildings as well, exploring the mechanics behind catapults. After understanding how catapults works and functions, the students creatively tackled the challenges. How to build one using catapult if you want using 2 spoons, a rubber band, and sponge. Do you know how I do it? In this slide shows how we can do it. Yes, 2 spoons, rubber, and sponge in the left side of this slide on the screen. And they succeeded. The solution is shown on the screen, as you see. And this slide, how we work in our STEAM lab in Klaipėda University with school and this community. And once again, to conclude, generally engineering education in primary school is mission possible. As knowledge that there are objective obstacles, but equally there are opportunities to overcome them. One they enables is co-creation and collaboration between universities and schools, researchers and students, teachers and future educators. As our students emphasize this year, STEAM is growing through togetherness. And if I can to paraphrase my favorite Friedrich Nietzsche quote, who knows why can endure anyhow. Wishing us all great success in aligning our expectation and experience in aerial engineering education, I say thank you for your attention.